The judge now turns his attention to Diddy's case. If you have forgotten what just happened, the U.S. Attorney Emily Johnson pushed back on the reading of the cases, and the defendant, Dennis, argued that he could not be tried without infringing the First Amendment. The parties agreed that this was only about sufficiency. Again, sufficiency is whether the charge meets the threshold required to be in this court. The judge interrupts, observing that the court went right past the waiver. He then turns to Diddy's attorney, Ms. Shapiro, who will also be handling his appeal. Shapiro and Driscoll are aces when it comes to technical arguments. This is not about innocence, this is about technicality, a narrow fight to see if the other side slipped up. The judge turns to Mr. Shapiro. Mr. Shapiro, can you address these arguments? Mr. Shapiro, who represents Combs, stands and replies, "Your Honor, the Dennis case is on point. The court made clear that statutory construction arguments can be raised under Rule 29. Also, the Lopez case. I actually argued it." There's a brief pause as the court awaits the U.S. Attorney's response. I will say that Driscoll effectively pulled that argument out and made clear she is a dominant force in this courtroom. She is asserting that the Lopez case was a win against the U.S. government. Shapiro, Diddy's lawyer, responds with a defiant posture, insisting, "How are you telling me I am King Kong? This is brick by brick. You are arguing cases I was the lawyer on. Trust me, I know the legal reasoning and I know what the law is." It is easy to imagine Emily Johnson rolling her eyes. Winning that case and knowing the legal reasoning does not automatically mean those facts apply here. Still, there is a valid legal argument on the table. I do not know how strong it is. That determination is for the legal arguments and the judge to decide, but they do have a legitimate point regarding the definition of prostituting. Again, the U.S. Attorney is trying to push them out on technicalities, just as Diddy's team is trying to avoid liability on technical grounds. The judge then says, "Okay, Mr. Perel, let's put the financial motive to the side. Why would Mr. Combs be liable under a willfully causing theory? Ms. Vento, or Jane, furnished the payment for the escorts, but Mr. Combs still had the relevant intent. Text messages prove that Diddy flew escorts out, requested their presence, made arrangements, and even had his team prepare hotel rooms. They decorated the rooms, laid out supplies, even set baby oil in place. If there was no knowledge of what was going to occur, then why was baby oil sitting in those hotel rooms?" This is the crucial moment where U.S. Attorney Emily Johnson must shine. The weight of the case shifts onto her ability to drive the point home. It is the kind of moment where you wish someone like Maureen Comey was also there, but it falls on Johnson to deliver. And as the tension rises in the courtroom, a random interruption cuts through, a voice from outside the legal fight saying, "So off topic and no disrespect considering the conversation, but girl, you are glowing."
Oh my God, what have you done? Spill the tea. You look stunning. The response comes with a smile. So y'all want to hear this? I've been on a fitness journey. I got tired of people constantly asking when the baby was due, how many months along I was. Bastards. I was fed up with people trying to claim I was pregnant when I wasn't. I had just been eating, working nonstop, and living life. So what did I do? I started a fitness journey. I've been working out, drinking my water, unplugging, going on vacation, and actually taking care of myself. Thank you so much for noticing, Libra Poet. I really appreciate that. The moment passes and the focus shifts back. Okay, where were we? Right, let's get back into this. With the laugh, it's noted that Libras always manage to stop the world for a beauty question. And honestly, people love to see it. It's no surprise that a huge number of lifestyle and influence creators dominating social media right now are Libras. Now, back to the case. They are saying not only did Diddy participate, but he had the relevant intent. He knew exactly what he was doing. These acts were for his pleasure, and he agreed they were for his pleasure. Enter Mark Agnello, who tried to justify it through swinging, but even the National Swingers of America quickly distanced themselves, saying, "Don't put that on us, we don't do that. Swingers are about consent." Shapiro then strikes back. She argues that in many states, prostitution is only defined when person A pays person B directly for sex with A. In this case, the government is trying to stretch that definition. She points out that there are cases where people watch others have sex, but that does not legally qualify as prostitution. She stresses that the Mann Act is about transportation, not voyeurism. This is where Shapiro raises a point that causes real concern. At the beginning of this trial, the government seemed confident they would nail him on RICO charges. That was before they realized too many people were implicated and the jury was not aligned with the case. Shapiro argues that the government made a strategic mistake. They should have clearly defined these individuals as prostitutes from the start. They should not have allowed them to be called entertainers, and they certainly should not have been allowed to call themselves escorts. I think they did that to protect the witnesses, but Diddy's team used it to argue, well, escorts don't guarantee anything, we didn't really do it. They are trying to twist that distinction. Shapiro pushes further, claiming commercial voyeurism is not prostitution. She cites a number of state cases, including the Polino case in New York and another case in Georgia, where the government alleged a private residence had been used for prostitution, but the court ruled it was voyeurism. This is where the tension rises. It makes me nervous, and I won't lie, I need Emily Johnson or another U.S. attorney to step in with the spirit of Maureen Toomey and shut this down. Shapiro continues, pointing out that the statute originally had a section about debauchery, which was later removed. She references how the Supreme Court reversed a Seventh Circuit holding that had affirmed a conviction even when the defendants had no commercial motive. She then goes further, arguing about traveling interstate for a woman being a mistress or a concubine. The courtroom reacts. Did she just call Jane and Cassie concubines? Shapiro literally leaned into that comparison. The judge quickly cuts in, reminding her that the Cleveland case said polygamy met the immoral purposes test. Shapiro pushes back firmly but respectfully, saying, "Your Honor, I disagree. There was a late 19th century case, an immigration case, that does not support that application." Judge Aaron doesn't budge. No. Polygamy met the immoral purposes test. The back and forth continues, Shapiro refusing to concede, standing her ground. And once again, the question hangs in the air. Where is the U.S. attorney? Why has Emily Johnson not stepped in to deliver the knockout rebuttal? If you want to stay locked into every explosive twist and legal showdown in this case, make sure you subscribe to Celeb World. Don't miss a single update because this trial is only getting more intense and you need to hear it all first right here on Celeb World.